Hello friends and welcome back. I'm so excited to have you join me again. This is Terry with Terry's Mailbox, and today I'm presenting for the Funky Junkie Boutique. The current challenge is Sunday in the Park, and again, you were supposed to do something that represents something you might see in the park. So of course I thought of birds. I just got my hands on this bird and egg colorize and couldn't wait to use it. So I thought it was perfect for this purpose. So again, here is that the bird and the egg die. And so again, there are several pieces. I will admit it took me a little while to figure out how to get the belly red, which piece was the belly, because I wanted to do a robin type looking bird. So again, I pulled cardstock from my stash. Again, some of it is Tim Holtz, some of it is just regular cardstock. And again, I've had some for quite a while that I keep in a like a letter file type thing. So again, here I am. So I've got this kind of red color that I was going for. So here I'm just going to add little glue using my needle nose applicator. And we'll go ahead and just kind of work on getting all of these layers of the bird put together. So once you do one of the colorize die sets, it's pretty easy to do the next one. It's kind of that first one is your learning process. So this one is definitely my learning process. But again, I just followed the picture and tried to figure out, okay, which layer is which. And I was pretty happy with the way this turned out in the end. I wanted that red robin. Again, think spring, I always think of robins. We've got lots of them in our yard. Then come the cardinals and the chickadees and, all the different birds. But I love to look out there and see the bright colors of the robins. So that's kind of why I picked this. So again, here's the little piece that goes under his chin. And then I've got one little last piece there that actually goes right around the eye. Now I will say I am missing, there is a tiny piece that is normally used for the pupil of the eye. I'm never good at keeping track of it or finding it once I've got it cut out. So what I decided to do, I just grabbed a white gel pen and I drew in the pupil with the white gel pen, and I think it works just as well. So there's my birdie. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm smooshing the background. So if you know me, I do a lot with ink smooshing. And so this is stormy sky and weathered wood and speckled egg. So again, I'm going to get those distress inks out on my craft mat, and then I'll go ahead and run my fingers through, and we'll start doing the smooshing. And so again, I'm working on watercolor paper because again, I wanted that texture, and I actually used more of the textured side this time. So, you can see I've got it kind of coming around there in a circle. I like that because it kind of looks like a windy day in the park. And so we're going to go ahead and add a little more water and go back in for more color. So look at the way that just kind of looks like it's swirling around there. Pretty cool. And the nice thing about distress inks, if you're not happy with it, you add a little bit more water and get it to run. And then no telling what you're going to come up with. I tend to use most of the ink that's on my craft mat. I don't like to wipe it up and waste it. So I go back as many times as it takes till I'm happy with the piece, and also till my craft mat's almost clean. And there we go. One last time. I think it's the last time. But anyway, still kind of going in there. And then we're using the heat tool to dry it. And again, that's a good idea to do that in between, because otherwise the colors kind of mix together. And, although in this case I was just using blues, so it was fine. So then I grabbed mustard seed, and I'm using 2 Tim Holtz stencils to enhance the background, 003 and 043. So I'm not sure which one's the sun and which one's the words. But again, I'm just adding the sun shining down from that upper corner. And so here we'll go ahead and add the words here from the other stencil. Again, using the Stormy Sky ink and a blending tool. So again, just, just kind of adding some texture in the back, although in the end you don't really see the bottom right because I ended up putting the nest right there. And so again, here I'm going to cut up a bunch of little bitty tiny strips. I know Stacy, who's one of the designers for Tim Holtz, showed this a while ago, and she created a nest, and I just thought it was brilliant. So I decided to kind of reproduce this. So I chopped up a bunch of little tiny browns, and then I also added some string in there because, sometimes birds stick string in their nests. So again, I scrunched it up there. And now we're going to move on. I'm going to create the branches. So again, I needed to have some color on there. So this is gathered twigs and vintage photo. And we're just kind of adding a lot of water there to make it run. I'm really just trying to color the background right now. And so again, getting that heat tool out and making sure I've got good coverage there. Just drying. So I'm waiting for it to dry, and then here I'll clean up my mess. And so I love using Distress ink on these things. It's just, and as you can see, that is actually a lumber textured paper that I was using. So I've got to clean my desk here a little bit. And there's that piece. So again, I took walnut stain and I just rubbed it directly over the top to really enhance and bring out that grain. I wanted that to be very apparent on my tree limbs. And I ended up cutting those using the Big's Branches die. And so here I've got a little piece here that I'm adding some brown walnut stain to. And I'm adding a lot of collage medium on there. And I'm just kind of squishing all of the nest parts there. And so really, getting my fingers really messy here, just playing with the nest parts. And so then I'll go ahead and set that aside to dry. So I've got my bird, I've got my nest. The next thing I'm working on is just another ink smooshed piece, and I'm going to stamp a stamp from the Observations, number 434, and I use The Future Belongs to the Curious. And so the next thing I did was I edged the Etcetera Tag with that Stormy Sky ink again. And so now it's almost time to assemble my tag. So here I've got the egg. I've got different layers here. I decided to kind of go with the blue, kind of that robin's eggs blue. And so I cut it out of different colors of cardstock. In the end, I ended up running my vintage photo blending tool over both the bird and the egg, just to kind of, grungy them up a little bit. And I think that worked very, very well. So again, just kind of adding all the layers here, getting the egg together. He's really kind of cool. You could also make it into Easter eggs, put it in a basket. That's about that time right now, isn't it? So again, here I'm gonna put it in here. Although I guess by the time this posts, it'll be a little past Easter, but that's okay. Thought is there. So there I am, just kind of grunging up the bird, kind of catching the edges. Easier doing it when it's all put together than trying to do this on each one of those little bitty tiny pieces. So again, here's my branch. Here's one of the branches that I cut out. And you can see here I'm looking for a space, and that one has that nice little divot there at the bottom. So we'll go ahead and put it there. And then I'll go ahead and work on putting the bird on a higher branch. And I may need to move those a little bit closer to get them all in together. So there is my Future Belongs to the Curious stamp. And I'm going to go ahead and use my Misty tool and stamp that and use the Vintage Photo embossing glaze on that. I just think that really looks nice and adds an additional texture. So sorry, I'm working off camera here. A little bit hard to see. So again, we'll kind of pull it up here for you a little bit, but just know that's what I'm doing. There we go. I'll turn it around. That way you can see it. So again, kind of using, actually I used vintage photo distressing because that does stay wet long enough that you can get embossing powder or embossing glazes on it. So next I'm going to put the embossing glaze on, and then we'll pull out that heat tool again and heat it up. And then I used my decal edge trimmer to trim around the outside of it, and then I used the vintage photo ink to edge the edges of it again. So you'll see that when I add it to the card, or to the tag, excuse me. So again, there is that tag. It's all trimmed down, and so now I got to put some glue on my nest and put it there on that lower branch. And I'm going to kind of leave it hanging off the right side a little bit. I think that looks pretty cool. I already had the branch on there. I had the egg in there. So looking pretty good. Sorry for that camera readjustment there. So again, there is my final Etcetera tag. I don't know what number it is in the series. I've done quite a few, but I certainly have enjoyed it. And again, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, presenting for Funky Junkie. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Blogger, and YouTube. I'd love to have you follow and subscribe. Take care.